the continued detention of atheist political prisoner Soheil Arabi. On November 7th, 2020, exactly 7 years since his initial imprisonment, Iranian atheist blogger and human rights activist, advocate Soheil Arabi was informed that he would be transferred from prison ward 2A of Evin prison in Tehran to another unknown detention center. Arabi, who has been in detention since 2013 for blasphemy, has suffered repeated torture and been denied medical treatment from prison officials. His mother, Farangis Mazloum, has faced judicial harassment and criminalization due to her advocacy on behalf of her son. In October 2020, she was sentenced to 18 months imprisonment by the Tehran Revolutionary Court on charges of, quote, gathering and colluding against national security, end quote, for continuing to speak out against prison conditions. Thus far, Arabi has not been informed where he is to be transferred or for what purpose.
Her mother was arrested right after she did an interview, with Atheist Republic's Persian channel. And she said to us in that interview, which we have subtitled in English, so go watch it. She paid so much to be able to do that interview. She told us that she knows that there's going to be a backlash to her doing this interview with us, but she's willing to do this for her own son. So she knew that she had to pay for it, and she still wanted to do that interview to get the message out for her son. So more people need to go watch that interview, because she paid a high price for more people knowing the story. Okay, and I just want to say, like, Susanna has been really trying hard to, like, she's been waiting to report on this for a very long time. She's been actively hunting for credible, because she didn't want to she wanted to bring updates to you guys, but she didn't want to use a source that she couldn't rely on. So she's been like waiting for any credible source to give us an update so that she could come here. So thank you so much to Susanna for, like, she was so desperate to give us an update for like months now, and she finally found a reason to be able to update us.
So the update on him is kind of old. And there's a number of updates actually that I'll go through in a second. The latest one was the 7th November, but there was ongoing stuff that I was watching happening in early September and October. But the only sources that I could find on it were sources that were front groups for the destructive terrorist cult that known as MEK. And I'm not gonna provide to my audience front groups for MEK. If you guys don't know what MEK is, well, Armin can tell you, or you can Google it, but it's terrifying stuff. And they use political prisoners in their anti-regime narrative as a way to draw people in and try to get political credibility. So like I said, some of these updates are older, but it took me a long time to find a source that I felt comfortable sharing with you guys. So one update that we didn't cover was on September 18th, 2020, Soheil Arabi was summoned by the head of the Greater Tehran Central Penitentiary. He was interrogated about further audio recordings he made, which had been published by BBC Persian, in which he described the dire conditions in the prison during the COVID-19 pandemic. The head of the prison threatened to send him to solitary confinement and file new charges against him. The following day, by falsely claiming that they were taking Arabi to the prison's health clinic, the prison security guards transferred him to Rajave Shah prison, where he was placed in a cell known as a suite, normally reserved for death row prisoners. For those who don't know, he was acquitted of his charges when he was on death row. Well, he wasn't acquitted. They just dropped the death penalty. Where was I? In addition to the psychological impact of being held in such a cell for a month, Soheil Arabi was denied access to phone calls and medication he needed to he requires for his underlying health conditions. The defender has been suffering from painful inflammatory conditions since April 2019. And then more recently, on October 20th, 2020, Soheil Arabi was transferred. He was transferred to Ward 2A, which is where I earlier mentioned that he's going to be removed from. So he was transferred to Ward 2A of Evin prison, which is run by the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, commonly known as the IRGC, intelligence service. Here, his family were allowed to visit him for the first time in over a month. Also, towards the end of October, so his mother, that's when his mother was sentenced to 18 months imprisonment. And Gossam was pointing out in the live chat that there are other sources saying that she was imprisoned or before. This is reoccurring. As I said before, she faces reoccurring judicial harassment. So she's apparently colluding against national security by speaking out against the conditions that are faced by her son. However, she has yet to receive a summons for her to begin her sentence. And then, like I said, he is going to be, as of the beginning of November, he is going to be transferred out of the ward that is controlled by the IRGC, and it is unclear why or where.
All right, so the interview that I'm showing you on the screen right now, this is the interview that she did after she gave up on, after she tried everything else. Like, this is a mother that says, you know what do I have to lose? You have my son, and I don't care about my life. You guys could threaten me with consequences, but I don't have anything that you could take that matters to me more than my son. So when she did this interview with us, we were very clear, like, that there are going to be consequences to this. Like, I mean, this is a channel called Atheist Republic, or Jumhuri Bi Khoda in Persian. Like, you're talking to kafirs, you're talking to infidels, and she lives in Iran, right? And like, totally, you're gonna tell us about your son being in prison, and you're gonna come complain to a channel that this problematic. And she's like, yeah, I'm gonna, you guys are the only people that is going to, like, interview me about this, and I need to get my voice out, so I'm gonna do it. So she did this interview, and now she's facing jail time. So she has paid a really heavy price to do interview like this, right? So it's a shame that this video doesn't get the attention that it deserves. If you want to go find this full interview, like, we even, guys, we found a volunteer team that managed to put all of this subtitles in English, right? Because she doesn't speak English. She did this interview in Persian. And it's really hard to subtitle for us with, like, no budget, with no money, to subtitle a 1 hour like, we have a hard time, like, subtitling 5-minute videos. This was a 1 hour video that we subtitled in English, the entire 1 hour of it, for people to be able to see what she had to say about her son, and the situation in Iran. And she was so sweet, by the way. Like, she's so tolerant. Like, she has a hijab on and all, and she's like, her son is an atheist, open atheist in Iran, right? And she's like, I admire my son for being so brave to say things that he believes in or doesn't believe in. It was so beautiful to see a Muslim mom being so proud of her atheist son, and how she admires her son, who is not backing down about the things that he cares about and he believes is true. It was so beautiful to watch. So if you want to go watch that interview, it's been subtitled for you in English, so you get to see what she has to say. Like, she couldn't speak English, but that's why we subtitle it. So please, if you can, go watch this. It's called, if you're listening to the podcast and you don't know what to search for, the title of this video says "Interview with the Mother of an Atheist Prisoner in Iran." #Free Soheil. So I think if you just search for "Interview with the Mother of an Atheist Prisoner in Iran" on YouTube, this interview should show up. So go watch it, okay? But anyways, Rivka, you want to say something?
Actually, I'm reading these subtitles, and as a mother, it's kind of making me almost cry when she's saying, don't change for me. I'm proud of you the way you are. So it's pretty amazing. She's a mom first, and that's really, really beautiful, as Harris is saying. But I wanted to make a point, and the point is that when people talk about how, they feel like their freedoms are restricted in the West, or they can't say what they think, this woman is being legally persecuted within the laws of the country. They are arresting her and charging her with crimes for saying something about, and it has to do with something her son did. So I want people to recognize what is really going on in Iran. So her son had stated a belief, his freedom of conscience. He is put in prison for it, and now his mother is suffering legal consequences as a result of that as well. So I'm sorry, I was going to say whining, but these people that are complaining about how bad it is, particularly a lot of times it happens to be Americans who like to center how bad things are. No, this is how bad things can get. And I think, to Susanna's point that she brings up all the time, that because we're not suffering consequences for saying what we think, and in addition, no one's going to your mom's house and arresting her because you said something that somebody doesn't like. It's incumbent upon us that we keep talking about this and keep talking about it and keep talking about it as much as possible.
And subscribe! Everyone! Every single one of you is watching! Subscribe! Do it now! Do it! Do it now!